Very pleased now to be joined here at SB Nation by the legendary, the incomparable, one of the greatest golfers of all time, one of the greatest human beings of all time. It is Annika Sörenstam. Annika, thank you so much for taking the time to join us.
Well, thank you, RJ. That was quite the introduction.
You deserve it. I think that that's fair to say, and I don't think that you would, not be humble to admit that you deserve it. Your life and career speak for themselves.
Well, you're very kind. Now it's been a great run. What can I say? I've to do something I love so much.
That's where I wanted to start, if you wouldn't mind, Annika. When it comes to professional athletes, not just golfers, but there are people who love the game or the sport that they played, and then they move on, and obviously golf's a little bit different in that sense. But you love golf. I mean, in a way that is very different from the average golfer. Is that fair to say in your estimation?
I mean, I do. I feel lucky to really, first of all, get introduced to the sport, and then just to make it turn a hobby into a job, into a lifestyle. What can I say? I feel fortunate. And the thing is with golf is just ever changing, different days, different condition, different courses, different people, different everything. It's just always, always have to learn how to adjust. And I think that's what I admire or enjoy the sport, that it's just, you always got to be on your toes, and you can always learn something.
Yeah, I think that that's really well said. And if you can always learn something, then we can always learn something. I imagine you've taught a lot of people things over your life and over your career relative to the game of golf. In fact, we're talking in advance of the American Century Championship, and I interviewed Joe Theismann, the NFL legend, and he told me that part of what he loves about the tournament is getting to pick the brains of people who participate in the event, and to find out how and why they were successful, but that he obviously likes to do that with the professional golfers who are there. And he name dropped you specifically. And so I'm very curious what it's like to go to an event like the ACC where it's a little bit out of the box for other people, like a Joe Theismann, but it's completely and totally in your wheelhouse. Like it's a different event for you specifically, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it is a wonderful event. I think it's an event that just, I don't know, brings people together, as you know. I mean, here you're talking to, professional golfer, and then you're talking to, football players, hockey player, baseball player, whatever, actors, name it.
Hmm.
And we all, the sport brings people together in a different environment, a fun environment. It's a party environment, and Tahoe in the summer. And I think it's, yeah, it's like you said, it's in my wheelhouse, but then also it's, the atmosphere is a little different than what I'm used to, with
Sure.
a lot of noise, a lot of people, a lot of cheering and playing, which makes it really fun. And I think that's just really what I think attracts people to this tournament, because you might have watched somebody on TV and become a fan. All of a sudden, they're hitting golf shots, and you can walk there and just outside the ropes, or get their autographs, and in a fun place.
No, I think that that's really well said, and what makes the event so interesting and unique and fun. It's very cool how people can parlay for for them what is a hobby into something to do so much good. And I know that that's something that you have done relative to the Annika Foundation, and things like this, opportunities like this, obviously serve as an opportunity for you to raise awareness for them.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And I think we're fortunate to do what we enjoy, but we're also fortunate to be able to give back, to different charities in, whether it's in the area or whether charities close to our hearts. And, with my foundation, I've been doing this for 18 years, and it's just to say thank you to the sport, give young women an opportunity to, advance and empower them through the sport in different ways, through either tournaments or different initiatives or mentorships, or you name it. And it's just been, I feel very, fortunate to be able to do that. And I think, this tournament, as you know, it's giving away, you know, over 8 million to charity throughout the years, which is incredible. I mean, you have people like, obviously, like Steph Curry,
Right.
who is a big name, or Marty Fish, who won last year, Tony Romo, or whoever. People just love watching them in a different environment, but then also feel like, we're doing something good.
Absolutely. I also cover the Dallas Cowboys, so I'm well familiar with covering Romo's golf game specifically. And Romo obviously hails from Wisconsin. Well, I don't know if you knew that about Tony, but he's a Wisconsin guy, and we're coming off the heels of the U.S. Women's Open at Erin Hills. The Masters is the Masters, and it's very special. Don't get me wrong, but Erin Hills is my favorite tournament that I've watched this year. It just presented itself so beautifully on television. It's such a fantastic course. And I imagine, well, I know just based on all the coverage and your FaceTime call to Maja Stark right after she won that you were quite pleased. Obviously, she did Sweden proud. I have to imagine that was very cool. She was the first European to win since you did in 2006.
Yeah, no, it was amazing. That course, as you would know, that it was quite the challenge. You know, it just has a lot of history to it. They've hosted championships before. It was wonderful to see the women there. So I felt like it was a true test. And of course, to see Maya do so well, you know, the final round being chased by number one, Nelly Corda, etc. And, you know, we mentioned about my foundation. Maya has played in several of our events
Right.
throughout the year. So it's like kind of see, you know, we talk about advance and empower, talk about, you know, a full circle there. So it was very, you know, very exciting to see and so happy for her. And, you know, she's a good player, that having won before, you know, been on Solheim Cup, etc. So it's a name that people might have heard, but not, you know, to this extent. So it was really cool and be able to, you know, get her so fresh off her win and congratulate her.
No, that's awesome. I mean, it was very cool to see. It's the exact type of celebration that you want in past meeting present. I mean, it's why we love sport. You talked about Nelly trying to chase her down on Sunday. I'm curious as someone who has been that person, that the chaser. Is that something that you ever? It's hard to say felt because it's a question about someone else. But during your playing days competitively, where you thought, you know, if I can just do this, people will know that Annika is chasing them. I mean, again, in a humble way, but understanding your position within the game, your position within the tour, I have to imagine that's something that, to some degree, you weaponized.
Well, I mean, when you play, you obviously, I mean, I do. I look at leaderboards and you pay attention to who's up there and where they are and what the standing is. And when you see somebody that, you know how to win, or if you see
Right.
somebody who's kind of used to being up there and, you know, it just makes you a little bit more worried, right? It doesn't mean, I mean, there's been winners, first time winners. Everybody's going to win the first time. So,
Sure.
and it's funny how that has happened at the U.S. Women's Open actually, and it was my first win also. So, you know, there's always kind of that exception. But yeah, when you have somebody, you know, like Maya, just watching Nelly, you know, people are rooting for her. It's the U.S. Open. You know, Nelly has never won the U.S. Open, and
Right.
you know she's playing well and driving it well. Of course, I mean it. You can, it makes you shake a little bit, you know, knowing she's right there and but you just got to focus on your task. It's easier said than done, but you know, so proud of Maya for doing that. I mean, when you're going out and you're leading, there's always a little bit more pressure because that's when people say, "Oh, it's yours to lose," or you know, all the comments that you hear. You know that, you know, you just got to play your game and see what happens. And so, and I think that's what made the tournament more special too, knowing you have big names at the top, and it becomes, you know, this, you know, exciting down the stretch.
I think that's really well said, and that was a really humble way to say that. Yeah, I weaponized that during my day, so I give you a lot of credit for that. The
Thank you.
LPGA Tour is in a really fun place. New commissioner, that was obviously a huge question for a long time. The first two majors, I mean, the Chevron had like a 14 person playoff. It felt like in the moment. Your thoughts in general as we sit here in June, to this point in the season, it does feel like the tour is doing everything it can to capitalize on this growth of women's sports, this fever for women's sports. No pun intended, relative to Caitlin Clark, obviously. Again, just kind of your general thoughts on the LPGA at this moment.
Yeah, no, I mean, as I'm sure you can imagine, I'm very, you know, bullish. Just because the reasons we talked about, an exciting U.S. Open, a major, you have a new winner, you have a Nelly Corda who's, fan favorite, and purses are going up. Courses like Erin Hills is just very, very helpful. And then, you know, with a new commissioner, it's always exciting with a new approach and new contacts, and it'll be interesting to see where what he does and where he takes the tour. And but overall, just I know many of the players and they're great individuals. I think they're super ambassadors for the sport. And so, yeah, I think women's sport in general is a much better place, and women's golf is, I think, it's very secure, if you know what I mean. But still, really, there's a lot of room for, to go up, whether it's venues, purses, just coverage, etc. So I look forward to obviously continue to support it and follow it the next years to come.
Yeah, I'm completely with you. The coverage standpoint, is getting there. Certainly, we're getting a lot more prominent featured groups. There was a lot of chatter about that, obviously, ahead of the Women's Open. It's in a building place, an exciting place, an exciting time, certainly. When you look forward to Lake Tahoe in July, um, I'm curious as someone who is, again, one of the greatest golfers of all time. When amateurs, and I use that word loosely about these professional athletes, when they ask you for advice, what do you, in your experience, what is the most common symptom to diagnose, the most common thing that amateur players are doing incorrectly?
um,
This
well, I
isn't
mean, we all
self-serving.
want
This isn't
to.
advice from me, Annika. This is just for the audience. I
No,
promise.
yeah,
I
it was.
swear.
It's probably a good thing for me too. I mean, we all want to hit it so far. I mean, nowadays, the ball goes a long ways. I mean, young kids hit it so far, a lot of speed. I think a lot of amateurs, they try to kill the ball. So I would say tempo's off, speed is off, and therefore you lose a little bit of your, uh, you know, the dispersion of the shots is, everywhere. So I think that's number one. So I always tell people tempo is important, focus on your strength. I would say also around the greens, a lot of amateurs, they so concerned about the line of a putt, they forget the speed, so it's like either hit it too hard or too short, that it's not this, they don't focus on the speed enough. So, and also I think that the third thing is, just play to your ability, and just go out there and play what you can, and not try to play somebody else's game.
That makes sense. I mean, that is so simple, but for the average amateur, you just want to your point, stand up there and kill it and dial it right at the hole, and you think it's going to work out, and it doesn't, and that's kind of our problem, and that's what makes people like you so special. Annika,
Hmm.
my last one, and it's a non-golf one, kind of, but what is, you've bounced around to so many different things and experienced so much throughout your life and career, and you do a great job of sharing these things on social. I'm curious, what's the coolest sporting event you've ever attended that isn't golf related? I mean, and that you maybe you weren't necessarily at on golf business, if that makes sense.
Oh, so it's not golf related. Okay.
Right. Yeah, like
I mean,
so, like the
yeah,
Olympics doesn't count or something like that. Like again, I'm not saying you had to be a fan with a ticket, but I'm just kind of curious.
yeah. No, I went to the Indy 500, Indianapolis 500.
Okay.
I thought that was that's not golf related. So, um, to me, that was just pretty much first time right there. Seeing, touching a car. Um, just watching the speed. I got to be in a two-seater. It blew everything away. Literally, right? It would go so fast. I thought that was really incredible. Just a different perspective of, athletes, what they go through, and so that was to me. I mean, I love sports in general. I've been. I went one time to skiing, not cross, downhill skiing. But I
Hmm.
thought Indianapolis 500 was just the whole spectacular thing for the weekend. So if it's not golf, that was really fun.
Yeah, something about that is very different and very thrilling. I've gotten a little bit more into Formula One as of late, and so same kind of
Hmm.
thing. It's just to your point, understanding not even just the athleticism, but the intellect behind that. The engineering that goes into it is astounding. Annika, you are incredible and graceful. Thank you so much for the time. Good luck answering all of the questions that you're going to get at Lake Tahoe from people how to improve
Okay.
their game. I'm sure you're well versed in it. And please continue to do remarkable work off the course as you have throughout your career.
Well, you've been very kind. I appreciate that. So have a good day.